Good evening, dear listeners. I'm happy to welcome you to this cozy corner where stories whisper their secrets under the cover of night, inviting you to relax and immerse yourself in distant eras. Tonight, we're embarking on a grand journey through time and space, dedicated to the 7 wonders of the ancient world and the 7 new wonders of our modern age. These creations of human hands, from the majestic pyramids standing in the desert for millennia to the shining monuments that still inspire millions today, will tell us about the genius of their builders, the mysteries of civilizations, and the eternal human desire to create something immortal. This lecture is planned for 2 hours of calm storytelling, so you can make yourself comfortable. Close your eyes and let the words carry you towards sleep, while ruins and domes, gardens and statues come to life in your mind's eye. We'll explore each wonder in detail, from its origins and construction, through the myths and legends, to its influence on our culture and the latest scientific discoveries. Imagine the warm desert wind touching your face and the rustle of leaves in the hanging gardens lulling you like a lullaby. Get comfortable, turn off the light, and let's begin this magical journey through the wonders of the world. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands on the plateau on the west bank of the Nile, near modern Cairo, within a complex that includes 2 other large pyramids, those of Khafre and Menkaure, as well as the Sphinx, and many smaller structures. It's part of the Memphis necropolis, inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979 under the name Memphis and its Necropolis. The pyramid fields from Giza to Dashur. The pyramid was built during Egypt's Old Kingdom, specifically in the 4th dynasty, roughly between 2580 and 2560 BC. It was intended as a tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, the 2nd ruler of that dynasty, whom the Greeks called Cheops. Khufu reigned for about 23 to 26 years, and his rule marked a peak in Egyptian civilization, when pharaohs were considered living gods, and the pyramids were seen as stairways to eternal life in the afterlife. Why a pyramid? In Egyptian religion, the pyramid's form symbolized the rays of the sun descending to earth, or the primordial mound, the Benben, from which the world arose. It was part of a vast funerary complex. Nearby stood a temple for worship, a valley temple used for mummification rituals, and a long causeway connecting them. The pyramid didn't stand in isolation. Around it were mastabas, flat-topped tombs for nobility, including Khufu's mother, Hetepheres, whose burial was found in 1925 in a shaft near the pyramid. It contained furniture, jewelry, and even an empty sarcophagus, suggesting her burial might have been moved from elsewhere. Now, about its dimensions, they're staggering even today. Originally, the pyramid reached a height of 481 feet, taller than many medieval European cathedrals, and remained the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, until the construction of Lincoln Cathedral in England around 1300 AD. Now, due to erosion and the loss of its outer casing stones, its height is about 455 feet. Its base is a square with sides of 756 feet, covering an area of over 13 acres, comparable to 10 football fields. Its total volume is about 92 million cubic feet, and its weight is approximately 6 million tons. It's composed of about 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing on average 2.5 tons, although some granite blocks in the King's Chamber reach up to 80 tons. If you were to dismantle the pyramid and lay the blocks end to end, they would stretch 2/3 of the way along the Earth's equator, about 15,000 miles. The materials for construction came from different places. The main stone is nummulitic limestone from local quarries on the Giza Plateau, which contains fossils of marine organisms, reminding us that this area was once a seabed. For the outer casing, they used fine white limestone from Tura on the opposite bank of the Nile. It was polished to a shine, so the pyramid glittered in the sun like a giant crystal, visible for many miles around. Granite for the inner chambers and sarcophagus was transported from Aswan, over 560 miles up the Nile. Transporting such massive blocks is a mystery in itself. They were likely floated on barges during the Nile's floods, and then hauled on wooden sledges, using water to lubricate the sand. Building the pyramid was the pinnacle of ancient Egyptian engineering. According to the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, who visited Egypt in the 5th century BC, its construction took 20 years and the labor of 100,000 men. But modern archaeologists, based on excavations, adjust that figure. The permanent workforce was probably around 20,000, peaking at up to 40,000 during busy seasons. These weren't slaves, as once thought, but skilled craftsmen and peasants who worked during the Nile floods when the fields were underwater. Evidence for this comes from finds in the workers' village near Giza. There were bakeries, breweries, hospitals, and even a cemetery with tombs bearing the names of work crews, like the Friends of Khufu or the Drunkards of Menkore. In 2013, the Diary of Merer was found, a papyrus from Wadi al-Jarf, dating to the 27th year of Khufu's reign, which describes transporting limestone from Tura by barge under the supervision of an official named Merer. This confirms the organized logistics. Stone deliveries took 4 days, and the workers were paid in bread, beer, and meat. How exactly did they build it? Theories vary. The main one involves the use of ramps, either straight, zigzagging up the sides, or spiraling around the pyramid. In 2018, a system of ramps with staircases and post holes for ropes was discovered in the Hatnub quarry, which allowed blocks to be hauled at an angle of up to 20 degrees. Other ideas include levers, rollers, and even water. Possibly, canals around the pyramid helped transport materials. Blocks were cut with copper saws using abrasive sand, and water and sand were used for precise grinding and polishing. The pyramid is aligned to the cardinal points with astonishing accuracy, a deviation of only about 3 arc minutes, likely achieved through astronomical observations, perhaps using the shadow of a gnomon, or tracking stars like the pole star. The pyramid's internal structure is like a labyrinth of secrets. The entrance is on the north side, about 60 feet up, and leads into a descending passage, 345 feet long, cut into the bedrock at a 26-degree angle. Then comes an ascending passage leading to the Grand Gallery. This is an impressive sloping hall, 157 feet long, 6.5 feet wide, and 28 feet high, with corbelled walls narrowing towards the ceiling. From there, You reach the king's chamber, a room about 34 by 17 feet, lined with red granite, containing an empty sarcophagus made of the same material. Khufu's mummy was never found, likely stolen in antiquity. Above the chamber are 5 relieving chambers, designed to distribute the immense weight and prevent collapse. Inscriptions found in them bear Khufu's name, confirming the pyramid's attribution. Below is the Queen's Chamber, about 19 by 17 feet, with a niche for a statue and 2 shafts angling upwards. These shafts, discovered in 1872, were initially thought to be for ventilation, but are now linked to rituals. They are aligned with stars like Sirius, associated with the goddess Isis, and the Orion constellation, linked to Osiris, helping the pharaoh's soul ascend. There's also an underground chamber, carved into the bedrock about 100 feet down, but it's unfinished, possibly an abandoned initial plan. Connecting the levels is a well shaft, joining the grand gallery to the descending passage, which legend says was used by tomb robbers. In 1954, the solar bark of Khufu was discovered, a wooden ship 141 feet long, made of cedar, disassembled into 1,224 pieces in a pit south of the pyramid. It symbolized the pharaoh's journey through the underworld and is now displayed in the Grand Egyptian Museum. A second bark was found in 1987, but hasn't been fully extracted yet. Myths and legends shroud the pyramid in a dense fog. The ancient Greeks thought it was the work of slaves, but excavations disproved that. The workers were free men who took pride in their labor. Some esoteric thinkers see encoded knowledge in its dimensions. The ratio of the base perimeter to its height, for instance, is close to 2 pi, and its proportions are said to correspond to the golden ratio, though scholars debate whether this is intentional or coincidental. There are theories about the pyramid being an observatory or an energy device, but these are unconfirmed. Arab legends from the 12th century speak of treasures inside, including mummies and star maps. But when Caliph al-Mamun's men tunneled into it in the 9th century, they found only an empty sarcophagus. Modern research is revealing new secrets. The Scan Pyramids project, launched in 2015, uses muon tomography, cosmic rays that penetrate stone, to image the pyramid without damaging it. In 2017, they found a large void above the Grand Gallery, a cavity at least 100 feet long and 26 feet wide, possibly another chamber or a relieving structure. In 2023, they discovered a hidden corridor on the north side, a horizontal tunnel 30 feet long with a chevron ceiling, likely designed to distribute weight or conceal something larger. Research showed it was blocked, and there might be more space behind it. And in 2025, discoveries shook the world. Using radar and synthetic aperture radar, along with satellites and seismic vibrations, a team from Italy and Scotland, including Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi, announced the discovery of a vast underground complex beneath the Giza Plateau. They described structures at depths of up to 2,000 feet, twice the depth of the Eiffel Tower's height, stretching for over a mile. These include 8 vertical cylindrical shafts, each about 2,100 feet deep, surrounded by spiral pathways leading to 2 cube-shaped structures, 250 feet per side, and 5 multi-level buildings connected by passages. the cylinders are located beneath each of the three main pyramids, possibly serving as entrances. Some sources call this an underground city with symmetrical architecture, but this is controversial. Egyptian officials, including Zahi Hawass, dismiss the findings as unreviewed and exaggerated, pointing out the limitations of radar at such depths. Others see it as evidence of a lost branch of the Nile, along which the pyramids were built, or even an ancient energy system. Research continues, but obtaining excavation permits is difficult. The pyramid's influence on culture is immense. It inspired Napoleon in 1798 with his famous line, "Soldiers, 40 centuries look down upon you." It has appeared in films and books, from Indiana Jones to conspiracy theories. Today, it's Egypt's main tourist attraction, visited by millions, but suffering from erosion and pollution. Archaeologists like Mark Lehner continue to excavate the lost workers' city. In 2020, a lost fragment of its casing stone was found in a museum in Aberdeen, dated to between 3,341 and 3,094 BC, possibly reused material. The pyramid stands as a testament to human genius, showing how 4,500 years ago, people created an eternal monument that outlasted empires. The Great Pyramid of Khufu remains not only an engineering triumph of the ancient Egyptians, but also an eternal reminder of humanity's quest for immortality. Its secrets continue to unfold, inspiring new generations of scientists and dreamers. With that, we conclude our story of the first wonder of the ancient world and move on to the next. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the most mysterious and romantic wonders of the ancient world, are associated with ancient Babylon in Mesopotamia, in present-day Iraq. This wonder dates back to around the 6th century BC, the peak of the Neo-Babylonian Empire under King Nebuchadnezzar II, who ruled from 605 to 562 BC. Nebuchadnezzar, known as a great conqueror and builder, transformed Babylon into one of the most magnificent cities of antiquity, with massive walls, ziggurats, and palaces. According to legend, the gardens were built by him for his wife, Amytis, a princess from Media, who longed for the green hills and forests of her mountainous homeland. In the dry, dusty plains of Mesopotamia, where the Euphrates and Tigris were the sources of life, such gardens would have been a true marvel, an artificial paradise raised up from the ground. The name, Hanging Gardens of Babylon, is a Greek interpretation. Semiramis was a legendary Assyrian queen, Shemuramat, who ruled in the 9th century BC. But historians believe the Greeks confused her with Amytis, or simply attributed the gardens to a more famous figure. Descriptions of the gardens have come down to us primarily from Greek and Roman writers, as Babylonian sources are silent about this wonder, which is a mystery in itself. The first to mention them is Antipater of Sidon in the 2nd century BC, but detailed accounts come from Berossus, a Babylonian priest of the 3rd century BC, quoted by Josephus, Strabo, 1st century BC, Diodorus Siculus, 1st century BC, and Quintus Curtius Rufus, 1st century AD. They describe the gardens as a multi-tiered structure, resembling a mountain, with terraces rising to a height of up to 80 feet, roughly the height of a 7-story building. Each terrace was supported by vaulted arches and columns made of baked brick, and a thick layer of soil, up to 10 to 13 feet deep, was spread on top, so that the roots of large trees could take hold. Imagine the lower level, a wide platform, perhaps 400 by 400 feet, with fountains and ponds fed by water from the Euphrates. Above, smaller terraces planted with exotic flora, palms, cypresses, fig trees, roses, lilies, and even fruit orchards. They were called hanging because the plants would cascade over the edges of the terraces, creating the illusion of a forest floating in the air. To prevent water seepage, the terraces were covered with a layer of bitumen, a natural asphalt found in Mesopotamia, along with lead plates and reeds. This was advanced waterproofing for its time. The gardens were integrated into the royal palace, or perhaps even the ziggurats of Etemenanke, the precursor to the biblical Tower of Babel, making the entire complex a symbol of the divine power of the king. The irrigation system is arguably the most impressive part. Water from the Euphrates was raised to the upper levels using mechanical devices. Archimedes' screws, spiral pumps, chain pumps with buckets, or water wheels, powered by slaves, animals, or even the wind. Strabo describes how water cascaded down, creating coolness and humidity in the hot climate. The total volume of water needed for irrigation could have reached thousands of liters per day, a true engineering achievement in a region with little rainfall and summer temperatures exceeding 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Construction, by some estimates, took years and required the labor of thousands of workers, including gardeners from different parts of the empire who brought seeds and saplings from Persia, India, and even Egypt. The bricks for the terraces were fired in huge kilns, and plants were adapted to the local climate. It was a prototype of modern hydroponics. But here's the main intrigue. Did the gardens actually exist? The archaeological evidence is ambiguous. The German archaeologist Robert Koldewey, who excavated Babylon from 1899 to 1917 under the auspices of the German Oriental Society, found massive walls, the Ishtar Gate with its glazed bricks, now in Berlin's Pergamon Museum, and the ruins of Nebuchadnezzar's palace. He identified a vaulted structure as a possible foundation for the gardens, complete with water channels, but found no trace of terraces or plants. Later excavations in the 1930s and 1950s by Iraqi archaeologists, as well as post-war research in the 1980s under Saddam Hussein, who even attempted to reconstruct Babylon, also yielded no direct evidence. From 2003 to 2011, after the invasion of Iraq, international teams, including UNESCO, surveyed the site, but war and looting had damaged much. Alternative theories are gaining traction. In 2013, British Assyriologist Stephanie Daly from Oxford University proposed that the gardens were not in Babylon, but in Nineveh, the capital of Assyria, under King Sennacherib, who ruled from 705 to 681 BC. Her arguments are based on Assyrian reliefs from Nineveh, now in the British Museum, depicting multi-tiered gardens with aqueducts, trees, and even exotic animals. Sennacherib boasted in his inscriptions, "I created gardens like the mountains of Amanus, and planted all kinds of trees." He built a 93-mile aqueduct from Jawan, using stone arches, a technology predating the Romans. Daly suggests that the Greeks, conquering the region under Alexander the Great, confused Nineveh with Babylon, and Semiramis with the Assyrian queen. This theory is supported by analysis of cuneiform tablets. Assyrian texts mention a hanging garden, Bitu Kitu, while Babylonian ones do not. Recent research adds to the intrigue. In 2023, a team from Tel Aviv University and the Iraq Museum, using satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar, surveyed the ruins of Nineveh near modern Mosul and found traces of ancient canals and terraces beneath the soil. They suggest the gardens may have covered up to 740 acres, complete with artificial lakes. In 2024, an article in the Journal of Near Eastern Studies proposed that hanging is a translation error, and the Akkadian word may mean terraced rather than suspended. And in early 2025, a study published in the February issue of All About History by scholars from Cambridge University, analyzing new cuneiform tablets from the British Museum dated to the 7th century BC, concluded that the gardens were likely located in Nineveh and were part of a large botanical complex built by Sennacherib. This research, based on 3D modeling and climate analysis, suggests the gardens included rare plants from conquered lands, serving as propaganda for the empire's power. However, Egyptologists and Mesopotamianists like Zahi Hawass or Irving Finkel debate this. Without direct excavations in Mosul, where conflicts continue, it remains a hypothesis. If the gardens existed in Babylon, their fate was tragic. After the city was conquered by the Persians in 539 BC, Cyrus the Great preserved the structures. But Alexander the Great, in 331 BC, planned a restoration that never happened due to his death. Earthquakes in the 2nd century BC, erosion from the Euphrates, and neglect during the Parthian era may have destroyed them. Diodorus mentions that by the 1st century AD, only ruins of the gardens remained. Alternatively, if they were in Nineveh, the city was destroyed by a coalition including Babylonians and Medes in 612 BC, and the remains are buried under modern Mosul. The myths surrounding the gardens are full of poetry. They symbolized Eden, the Garden of Paradise in the Bible, possibly inspired by them, as Babylon is associated with the Babylonian captivity of the Jews. In Persian tradition, paradisa, enclosed gardens, evolved from this concept. The legend of Semiramis as a warrior queen and builder adds romance. She supposedly ruled for 42 years, conquering India and Egypt. In medieval Europe, the gardens were depicted in miniatures as a symbol of luxury, and during the Enlightenment, as an example of ancient engineering. Their influence is seen in the gardens of Versailles, with their terraces and fountains, or in modern hanging gardens like Singapore's Super Tree Grove. Films like D.W. Griffith's Intolerance from 1916 reconstructed them as grand sets, and they appear in literature from Byron to modern fantasy. Today, the gardens are a subject for virtual reconstructions. In 2022, a UNESCO project using VR showed what they might have looked like with 360-degree views of terraces and the sounds of water. Tourists visit the ruins of Babylon, partially restored. But the real search continues in Nineveh, where ISIS, between 2014 and 2017, destroyed artifacts, but restoration efforts are now underway. In 2025, a new expedition is planned using drones and analysis to search for underground structures. The Hanging Gardens teach us how legends intertwine with history, and how human imagination creates eternal wonders even from myths. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon remain shrouded in mystery, symbolizing the dream of paradise on earth. Their image is a hymn to human ingenuity and the striving for beauty, whether in Babylon or Nineveh. With that, we conclude our story of the second wonder of the ancient world and move on to the next, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, the greatest temple of ancient Greece. Now let's transport ourselves to ancient Ionia, on the coast of the Aegean Sea, where the Temple of Artemis stood in Ephesus, one of the most prosperous cities of the ancient world. This temple, built around 550 BC, was dedicated to the goddess Artemis, patroness of the hunt, the moon, and fertility, and was considered one of the most magnificent structures of Greek architecture. Ephesus, located in modern-day Turkey, near the town of Selçuk, was a vital trade hub where routes from Asia to Europe converged, and the temple became its heart, attracting pilgrims from across the Mediterranean. It was commissioned by the Lydian king Croesus, renowned for his fabulous wealth, and designed by the architects Chersiphron and Metagenes of Hanossa. Construction took about 120 years, which underscores the project's grandeur. The temple was not just a sanctuary, but a symbol of power and piety. The temple was a dipteros, a type of Greek temple with a double row of columns surrounding the central cella. Its dimensions were staggering: 377 feet long, 180 feet wide, with 127 columns, each 60 feet high, made of marble with carved bases and capitals. Each column was a gift from different rulers and cities, making the temple a collective masterpiece of the Hellenic world. Inside stood the statue of Artemis, crafted in the chryselephantine technique, using gold and ivory, with multiple breasts symbolizing fertility, though some historians interpret them as nuts or bee eggs. The goddess was depicted with deer and bees, emphasizing her connection to nature and the hunt. The temple was not only a religious center, but also an economic one. It served as a bank where treasures were stored and provided asylum to fugitives, thanks to its status as a sanctuary. Pliny the Elder, in his Natural History, described it as the most wonderful work of human hands, and Antipater of Sidon included it in his list of wonders for its beauty and scale. Building the temple was a true engineering challenge. Marble was quarried from nearby Mount Prion and transported on wooden rollers and sledges, using slave labor and free craftsmen. The foundation was laid on marshy ground to protect against earthquakes. The architects spread a layer of charcoal and wool beneath the base, as Vitruvius described in his 10 books on architecture. The columns were raised using ramps and levers, and the reliefs on the friezes depicted myths about Artemis, such as her birth on Delos and the hunting of Actaeon. The temple was adorned with paintings by great artists like Apelles and sculptures by Praxiteles, making it a museum of art. But its fate was tragic. In 356 BC, the temple was burned down by an arsonist named Herostratus, who sought to immortalize his name. Legend has it that on that very night, Alexander the Great was born, and Artemis was attending his birth, unable to protect her home. Alexander later offered to rebuild the temple, but the Ephesians refused, saying a god should not build a temple for a god. The new temple, built in the 4th century BC by the architect Dinocrates, was even more grandiose. It stood on a platform 9 feet high, with 117 columns, some of which were donated by Alexander, and it survived until the 3rd century AD, when the Goths sacked it in 262 AD. Earthquakes and floods from the Cayster River completed the destruction, and in the 5th century, Emperor Theodosius I banned pagan cults, rendering the temple obsolete. Its stones were used to build Christian churches, including the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. Archaeological excavations began in the 19th century. In 1863, John Turtle Wood, funded by the British Museum, began searching, guided by Pliny's descriptions. After 6 years, he found the foundation in 1870, buried under 20 feet of marshy soil. The discovered fragments, including columns and reliefs of Amazons and griffins, are now in the British Museum and the Ephesus Museum. Myths surrounding the temple are full of drama. Artemis in Ephesus was identified with Cybele, the Anatolian mother goddess, and her cult involved orgies and fertility rituals with eunuch priests called Megabyzoi. The legend of the Amazons founding the temple adds intrigue. They supposedly hid their treasures there. In the New Testament, the Acts of the Apostles mentions the riot of the Ephesian silversmiths against Paul, who feared losing income from selling statuettes of Artemis. The temple's influence on architecture was immense. Its style was copied in the Parthenon and Roman temples, like the Temple of Venus in Rome. In art, from paintings by Rubens to films about the ancient world, the temple symbolizes the lost grandeur of Greece. Modern research is revealing new secrets. Excavations in Ephesus have continued by an Austrian team since 1895, and in recent years, the focus has been on underground structures. In 2023, new reliefs depicting Artemis as a huntress, dating to the 4th century BC, were found. In January 2025, Turkish archaeologists announced a major discovery in western Turkey, including additional fragments of the temple's foundation hidden beneath soil layers. In May 2025, updated excavations in Ephesus revealed more about underground tunnels, possibly used for rituals or storing treasures. Posts from July 2025 show archaeologists excavating buried columns, partially visible before, revealing impressive carving details and new secrets about the 7 wonders, including possible underground chambers beneath the temple. In June 2025, the blog The Archaeology of Artemis discussed how these finds, using ground-penetrating radar and 3D scanning, confirm the goddess's cultural influence with new artifacts like altars and statuettes, helping to reconstruct the temple virtually, making it accessible to all. Today, only a single column remains of the temple, assembled from fragments, standing in a marshy field. The UNESCO site, visited by millions of tourists, includes the Ephesus Museum with its exhibits. Reconstructions in miniature parks in Turkey and computer models allow us to imagine its former glory. The temple reminds us of the fragility of human creation, from the fire of Herostratus to the earthquakes of time. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus remains a symbol of the harmony of art, religion, and engineering, an eternal testament to the Greek genius. Its ruins whisper stories of gods and men, inviting us to reflect on the past. With that, we conclude our story of the 3rd wonder of the ancient world and move on to the next, the statue of Zeus at Olympia. the throne of the King of Gods. Now our journey takes us to the sacred valley of Olympia, in the western part of the Peloponnese in Greece, where the colossal statue of Zeus, king of the Olympian gods and lord of lightning, once stood. This wonder, created around 435 BC by the great sculptor Phidias, was not merely a sculpture, but an embodiment of divine power and human mastery, housed in the heart of the Temple of Zeus, built in the 5th century BC. Olympia, the birthplace of the Olympic Games in 776 BC, was a sacred sanctuary dedicated to Zeus, where festivals were held each year. Was a sacred sanctuary dedicated to Zeus, where every 4 years, athletes from all over Greece competed in running, wrestling, and discus throwing to honor the god. The temple and the statue became symbols of Hellenic culture, attracting pilgrims, philosophers, and rulers such as Alexander the Great, who considered Zeus his father. Philo of Byzantium, in his treatise on the Seven Wonders, described the statue as something that surpasses all expectations. And Pausanias, in his description of Greece from the 2nd century AD, noted that if Zeus were to stand up, he would break through the roof of the temple. The statue was colossal, about 43 feet high, seated on a throne, making it one of the largest sculptures of antiquity. It was crafted in the chryselephantine technique, a wooden framework covered with ivory plates for the skin and gold for the robes and accessories, creating the illusion of a living god. In his right hand, Zeus held a statue of Nike, the goddess of victory, about 6 feet tall, and in his left, a scepter with an eagle on top, the symbol of his authority. The throne was a masterpiece in itself, made of cedar, inlaid with ebony, gold, ivory, and precious stones, with reliefs depicting myths, the birth of Aphrodite, the battle of the Lapiths and Centaurs, the labors of Heracles and Theseus. The legs of the throne were supported by sphinxes, and the back was adorned with figures of the Graces and the seasons. Phidias worked on the statue in a special workshop near the temple, where archaeologists later found molds and tools. To create an illusion of grandeur, the floor in front of the statue was paved with black marble and filled with olive oil, which reflected light and protected the ivory from dryness. The construction of the Temple of Zeus preceded the statue. It was erected between 470 and 456 BC from local limestone, with marble pediments depicting the myths of Pelops and the battle of the Lapiths and Centaurs. The architect Libon of Elis designed it in the Doric style, with 6 columns on the facade and 13 on the sides, each 34 feet high, with metopes showing the 12 labors of Heracles. The temple stood in the center of the Altis, the sacred grove of Olympia, surrounded by a wall that contained altars, treasuries of the city-states, and a stadium seating 40,000 spectators. Phidias, already famous for his statue of Athena in the Parthenon, spent about 8 years on Zeus, using gold from Africa and ivory from India. Legend has it that after its completion, Phidias asked Zeus if he was pleased, and a lightning bolt struck the floor, a sign of approval. The statue survived earthquakes thanks to special shock absorbers in its foundation. But in the 5th century AD, it was transported to Constantinople by order of Emperor Theodosius II, where it was destroyed in a fire in 475 AD. The fate of the statue is full of mysteries. Some sources, like George Cadrenos, claim it perished in a fire at Olympia in 425 AD. but most historians lean towards the version of its transport to Constantinople, where it stood in the Palace of Lausus. There are no direct remains of the statue, only copies on coins, gems, and Roman statues of Jupiter. Archaeological excavations at Olympia began in the 19th century. In 1829, a French expedition found fragments of the metopes, and from 1875 to 1881, German archaeologists under Ernst Curtius excavated the entire temple. They found Phidias's workshop with ivory molds, tools, and even a cup inscribed "I belong to Phidias," confirming its authorship. In the 20th century, Greek archaeologists continued the work, uncovering the stadium and the palaestra. In recent years, the focus has been on preservation. In 2004, before the Athens Olympics, the temple was restored. And in the 2000s, laser scanning was used for 3D modeling. Myths surrounding the statue add to its charm. Zeus was considered the father of the games, and athletes made sacrifices to him before competitions, believing the god watched over them. Pausanias described how the statue inspired awe, with visitors weeping at the sight of it. In the Roman era, Emperor Caligula tried to move the statue to Rome, but the scaffolding collapsed, and the statue supposedly laughed. The statue's influence on culture is immense. It inspired Roman copies of Jupiter, medieval depictions of God the Father, and modern statues like Abraham Lincoln in the Lincoln Memorial or Christ the Redeemer in Rio. In art, from drawings by Rubens to films about Greek gods, Zeus symbolizes power and majesty. The Olympic Games were revived in 1896, and the flame is lit at Olympia among the ruins of the temple. Modern research continues to reveal secrets. Olympia has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1989, and Greek archaeologists are conducting excavations. In 2023, new bronze figurines of athletes were found in the sanctuary. In 2025, as sources report, an expedition in Olympia discovered fragments of marble reliefs from the Temple of Zeus, possibly parts of the pediment depicting a myth. These finds, dated to July 2025, help to better understand the temple's decoration and Phidias's technique. Furthermore, in March 2025, in the surrounding area, a monumental tomb with gold artifacts was found, including a ring with Apollo, linked to the cult of Zeus. In June 2025, updated excavations revealed bronze ruins and altars, enriching the understanding of the sanctuary. Using ground-penetrating radar and drones, scientists are studying underground structures, possibly workshops or altars. The site is visited by millions of tourists, with a museum housing the pediments and metopes. The statue of Zeus at Olympia is an ode to the divine in human creativity, a reminder of the spirit of competition and harmony. Its loss is a loss for the world. But the ruins of Olympia continue to inspire. With this, we conclude our story of the fourth wonder of the ancient world and move on to the next, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus, a tomb of eternal love. Now we travel to ancient Korea on the southwestern coast of modern Turkey, where in the city of Halicarnassus, now known as Bodrum, stood the mausoleum, a majestic tomb built between 353 and 350 BC. This wonder was created in memory of King Mausolus, a satrap of the Persian Empire, and his sister wife, Artemisia II, who commissioned its construction after his death, making it a symbol of eternal eternal love and mourning. Halicarnassus was a prosperous port city founded by Dorians, with a population of 10 to 20,000 people, where Greek, Persian, and Carian cultures mixed. Mausolus, who ruled Caria from 377 to 353 BC, strengthened the region, moving the capital to Halicarnassus and building walls, a theater, and a palace, making the city a center of Hellenistic influence in Asia. Antipater of Sidon included the mausoleum in his list of wonders for its beauty and scale, and the word mausoleum became synonymous with a grand tomb. The mausoleum was not just a grave, but an architectural masterpiece combining Greek, Lycian, and Persian styles. About 148 feet high, like a 15-story building, it stood on a platform 125 by 105 feet, with a pyramidal roof crowned by a quadriga, a chariot with 4 horses, driven by statues of Mausolus and Artemisia. The lower part was a podium with friezes depicting battles of Amazons and Greeks, and centaurs and lapiths, symbolizing the triumph of civilization over barbarism. The middle tier was surrounded by 36 Ionic columns, 40 feet high, between which stood statues of lions, horsemen, and mythical creatures created by the sculptors Scopas, Leochares, Bryaxis, and Timotheus, each responsible for one side. The upper tier was a pyramid with 24 steps leading to the marble quadriga. Inside was the burial chamber with the sarcophagi of Mausolus and Artemisia, surrounded by altars and gardens. Pliny the Elder described it as seeming to hang in the air, emphasizing the lightness of the structure. Construction was directed by the architects Satyros and Pythias, using marble from local quarries and imported stone. Workers, including Greek masters, labored for years, and Artemisia, who ruled after her husband's death, died 2 years later without seeing its completion. But the builders finished the project in her honor. The mausoleum survived the conquest of Alexander the Great in 334 BC, who admired it and left it untouched. It stood for 16 centuries, withstanding sieges and earthquakes, until a powerful earthquake in the 13th century destroyed the pyramid. In 1494, the Knights Hospitaller, who were building Bodrum Castle, used the stones of the mausoleum for fortifications, dismantling it almost completely. A legend, recorded by Claude Guichard in the 16th century, tells how the knights found the sarcophagi, but left them overnight, only to find them plundered by morning. Archaeological excavations began in the 19th century. In 1856, Charles Thomas Newton of the British Museum, guided by Vitruvius's descriptions, found the foundation and fragments. He extracted the Amazonomachy friezes, the statues of Mausolus and Artemisia, now in the British Museum, and parts of the quadriga. In the 20th century, Turkish archaeologists continued the work, uncovering underground chambers and additional reliefs. Today, the site is an open-air museum with the foundation, models, and fragments, part of the UNESCO-listed Bodrum. Myths about the mausoleum are full of romance. Artemisia was said to have mixed her husband's ashes with wine and drunk them to become his living tomb, emphasizing their bond. Mausolus, son of Hecatomnus, founder of the dynasty, made Caria semi-independent from Persia, and his tomb influenced the design of the Taj Mahal and Grant's tomb in New York. In literature, from Pliny to modern novels, it symbolizes eternal memory, modern research has revitalized the site. Excavations in Bodrum continue, focusing on underground structures. In 2023, new battle reliefs dating to the 4th century BC were found. In 2025, Turkish archaeologists announced significant finds in western Turkey, including fragments in Bodrum, possibly related to the mausoleum. Research on the tomb of Hecatomnus in Mylasa, a precursor to the mausoleum discovered in 2010, continues, with new artifacts in 2025, such as frescoes and sarcophagi, enriching the understanding of the Carian dynasty. In June 2025, analysis in Mylasa revealed more about the tomb's decoration, with gold ornaments and reliefs linked to mausolus. Using 3D scanning and ground-penetrating radar, scientists are virtually reconstructing the mausoleum, making it accessible online. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus is a monument to love that outlasted the ages, a reminder of how death inspires immortal creations. Its ruins in Bodrum invite us to ponder the fragility of glory. With this, we conclude our story of the 5th wonder of the ancient world and move on to the next. Now we sail to the island of Rhodes in the Aegean Sea, where at the entrance to the harbor stood the Colossus of Rhodes, a colossal bronze statue of the sun god Helios. This wonder, built between 292 and 280 BC, was created by the sculptor Chares of Lindos in celebration of the Rhodians' victory over the siege of Demetrius Poliorcetes, a Macedonian general, in 305 to 304 BC. Rhodes, a prosperous trading island with a population of about 60,000, was known for its shipbuilders and sailors, where 3 cities, Lindos, Camiros, and Ealissos, had united into a federation. The Colossus symbolized freedom and the protection of Helios, the god the Rhodians revered as their guardian. Philo of Byzantium described it as the greatest creation in bronze, and Pliny the Elder marveled that few people could wrap their arms around the statue's thumb, emphasizing its scale. The statue was enormous, about 110 feet high, taller than the Statue of Liberty without its pedestal. It depicted Helios standing with a radiant crown on his head, holding a torch, or simply gazing into the distance, with his legs possibly straddling the harbor entrance, though modern scholars debate this. The frame was iron, filled with stones for stability, and the surface was covered with bronze plates as thin as a coin. Construction took 12 years and cost 300 talents of silver, a huge sum obtained from selling the siege engines left by Demetrius. Chares used a technique similar to casting bells. Bronze was melted in furnaces, and the plates were attached to the frame with copper rivets. To raise the sections, they built an earthen ramp around the statue, which was later dismantled. Legend says the statue stood with its legs apart, allowing ships to pass underneath. But archaeologists consider this a myth. It likely stood on a pedestal, on a promontory or hill by the harbor. The Colossus stood for only 56 years, destroyed by an earthquake in 226 BC. It broke at the knees, and the fragments lay on the ground, astonishing travelers. Strabo wrote that the statue's thumb was larger than most statues entire. The Rhodians did not rebuild it, following an oracle's warning that doing so would bring misfortune. The fragments lay there for 800 years, until 653 AD, when Arabs, having conquered the island, sold them to a Syrian merchant reportedly loading 900 camels with the bronze. Since then, no trace of the Colossus remains, only legends and depictions on Rhodian coins showing Helios. Archaeological searches for the Colossus began in the 19th century. In 1856, Italian archaeologist Salvatore Bavis found fragments in Rhodes Harbor. They turned out to be from other statues. In the 20th century, Greek and Italian expeditions excavated the Acropolis of Rhodes, finding the Temple of Helios, but not the Colossus. Underwater excavations in the harbor in the 1990s, led by the Greek Ministry of Culture, uncovered ancient walls and ships, but not the statue. Some scholars, like Raymond Doths, suggest that the Colossus stood not in the harbor, but on Monty Smith Hill, where a pedestal was found. In 2008, a proposal was made to rebuild the Colossus as a tourist attraction, but the project was frozen due to the economic crisis. Myths about the Colossus are full of exaggerations. The Greeks considered it a guardian, similar to the Egyptian Colossi of Memnon, and the Romans copied it in statues of their emperors. The legend of the straddling legs appeared in the Middle Ages, inspiring illustrations in books such as The Romance of Alexander. The Colossus influenced the Statue of Liberty. Both were connected through the French architect Eugène Viollet-le-Duc, who contributed to early designs for liberty. In literature, from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar to films like Jason and the Argonauts, it symbolizes the fragility of greatness. Modern research focuses on its location and reconstruction. In 2023, Greek archaeologists used ground-penetrating radar in Rhodes Harbor, finding possible foundations of the statue. In 2025, new discoveries revived interest. In July 2025, Bethany Hughes, in a BBC documentary, 7 Wonders of the World, explored possible statue sites with local experts and surveys, suggesting the Colossus stood not in the harbor, but on a hill, based on new topographical data. Furthermore, in February 2025, an article in The Archaeologist discussed the lost wonder with new models based on coins and reliefs, showing Helios's pose. In April 2025, an updated guide to Rhodes mentioned recent finds in the Lindos Acropolis, including bronze fragments possibly linked to Chares's workshops. Although as of July 2025, it's confirmed that no verified remains have been found. Underwater surveys in the harbor with drones revealed ancient port structures, possibly the Colossus's pedestal. These discoveries, using image analysis, help reconstruct the statue virtually. Today, Rhodes, a tourist paradise, has an archaeology museum displaying models of the Colossus. The ruins of the harbor and Acropolis remind us of past glory, and reconstruction plans are discussed. The Colossus teaches about triumph and fall, a giant felled by nature. The Colossus of Rhodes remains a symbol of resilience and beauty, a guardian whose silhouette still looms in the imagination. Its story is a reminder of how time erases even giants. With this, we conclude our story of the 6th wonder of the ancient world and move on to the next, the Lighthouse of Alexandria, a light in the darkness of the ancient world. Now our journey brings us to legendary Alexandria on the northern coast of Egypt, where on the island of Pharos stood the Lighthouse of Alexandria, the last of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. This lighthouse, built between 285 and 247 BC, by order of Ptolemy. The first Soter and his son, Ptolemy II Philadelphus, was not just a landmark for ships, but a symbol of Hellenistic genius and the power of the Ptolemaic dynasty, which ruled Egypt after the death of Alexander the Great. Alexandria, founded in 331 BC, was a cosmopolitan center with a population of up to 500,000, home to the famous library and museum, attracting scholars from around the world. The lighthouse, designed by the architect Sostratus of Cnidus, served for navigation in the dangerous harbor of the Nile, where reefs threatened ships carrying grain, papyrus, and spices, making it vital for Mediterranean trade. Philo of Byzantium described it as a tower, visible a day's journey away, and Arab authors like al-Masuti in the 10th century praised it as a wonder of wonders. The lighthouse was a grandiose structure, standing between 390 and 460 feet high, taller than many modern skyscrapers of its time, and consisted of 3 tiers. The lower tier, square, about 200 feet high, contained rooms for guards and mechanisms for lifting fuel, built of white stone with granite corners for strength. The middle, octagonal, about 100 feet high, had balconies and statues of the Tritons. The upper, cylindrical, topped with a dome, held a bronze statue, possibly of Zeus or Poseidon, though some sources say Helios or Ptolemy himself. The fire at the top burned day and night, fueled by oil or wood, and was reflected by polished bronze mirrors, visible for up to 30 miles. Legend has it that the mirrors could focus light to set enemy ships on fire, but this is likely a myth. Construction took 12 years and cost 800 talents of silver, a vast sum, using ramps and cranes to lift blocks weighing up to 75 tons. Sostratus carved an inscription on the foundation. Sostratus, son of Dexiphanes, the Cnidian, dedicated this to the savior gods for the welfare of those who sail. The lighthouse survived for centuries, serving as a landmark for Romans, Byzantines, and Arabs. It withstood earthquakes in the 4th and 8th centuries, but in 956, 1303, and 1323, powerful tremors destroyed the upper tiers. By the 14th century, the lighthouse was in ruins, and in 1480, the Mamluk Sultan, Kayet Bey, used its stones to build a fortress on its foundation. Underwater debris was found in the 1960s by French divers led by Jacques-Yves Cousteau, uncovering columns, statues, and blocks in the harbor. In 1994, a team led by Jean-Yves Empereur began systematic excavations, finding thousands of artifacts. Myths about the lighthouse are full of mystery. The Greeks considered it a creation of the Ptolemies, but the Arabs saw it as a magical tower with mirrors that could see as far as Constantinople. It inspired legends of Pharos as a magical light guiding souls to the afterlife. The lighthouse influenced all subsequent lighthouses, from Roman to modern, such as the lighthouse on Pharos Island in Virginia. In art, from Pompeian mosaics to films about Cleopatra, it symbolizes enlightenment and navigation. Modern research has revived the ruins. Underwater excavations in Alexandria's harbor continue, focusing on the debris. In 2023, new granite blocks with hieroglyphs were found. In 2025, discoveries shook the world. In July, a team of researchers raised 22 massive blocks from the seabed for digital reconstruction. These blocks, weighing up to 80 tons, were extracted to create a digital twin of the lighthouse, showing its original appearance and fall. The project, led by Isabel Harry, combines archaeology and technology, raising 22 of the 36 previously known stones, plus 100 scanned underwater. This will allow a virtual reconstruction of the lighthouse, revealing construction details. Using drones and AI, scientists are analyzing how earthquakes destroyed the tower. Today, the Kate Bay Citadel stands on the lighthouse's site, with a museum of underwater archaeology. Alexandria attracts divers to the ruins, and VR reconstructions allow us to see the wonder. The lighthouse reminds us of the light of knowledge in the darkness. The Lighthouse of Alexandria is an eternal symbol of navigation and human perseverance, a light that outlasted the darkness of ages. With it, we conclude the 7 wonders of the ancient world and transition to the 7 new wonders of modernity. The Great Wall of China, the dragon guarding the empire. Now, dear listeners, we transition to the 7 new wonders of the world, chosen in 2007 by a global poll organized by the Swiss foundation New 7 Wonders, in which millions of people from around the world participated. These wonders reflect modern humanity's admiration for grand creations that have survived through the centuries and highlight the diversity of cultures. The first of these is the Great Wall of China, stretching across northern China like a giant dragon, symbolizing the resilience and unity of the nation. This wall, built over centuries from the 3rd century BC to the 17th century AD, is not a single continuous structure, but a system of fortifications, towers, and fortresses, with a total length of over 13,000 miles, enough to circle the Earth 1.5 times if laid out in a straight line. It passes through mountains, deserts, and rivers, from the East China Sea to the Gobi Desert, guarding the borders against northern nomads. The Chinese call it Wanli Changcheng, the Wall of 10,000 Li, emphasizing its endlessness. The wall originated in the spring and autumn period, around the 8th to 5th centuries BC, when individual kingdoms built earthen ramparts for protection against raids. It gained its true scale under the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, who ruled from 221 to 210 BC, united China, and connected the fragmented walls into a single system, mobilizing millions of workers, including soldiers, convicts, and peasants. Construction continued under the Han, Sui, Ming, and Qing dynasties, peaking in the 15th and 16th centuries under the Ming, when brick walls and towers were added. The wall's height varies from 20 to 30 feet, its width from 13 to 20 feet, allowing 5 horsemen to ride abreast. Signal towers are placed every 650 feet to transmit messages by smoke or fire. Materials used include earth, stone, brick, and lime mixed with sticky rice glue for strength. In some sections, like at Battling, the wall climbs steep slopes at a 45-degree angle, demonstrating engineering genius. The total volume of materials is about 3.5 billion cubic feet, enough to build a wall around the equator 16 feet high. Construction was a titanic effort, claiming the lives of millions from hunger, exhaustion, and accidents. Legends speak of the Wall of Tears, where workers' bones are embedded in the foundations. Emperor Qin Shi Huang, also known for his terracotta army, used the wall to consolidate power. but it did not always stop invaders. The Mongols under Genghis Khan breached it in the 13th century. Under the Ming dynasty, the wall was strengthened, adding 25,000 towers and fortresses, such as Shanhaiguan, the pass between mountains and sea, and Jiayuguan in the west. The wall's functions evolved from defense to controlling trade along the Silk Road, and even tourism in modern times. Myths about the wall are endless. Western legends claim it is visible from space, but NASA has refuted this. From orbit, it appears as a thin line, invisible to the naked eye. Chinese tales tell of Lady Meng Jiang, whose husband died on the construction, and whose tears caused a section of the wall to collapse. The wall symbolizes the dragon, the spirit of China, guarding against barbarians. Its influence on culture is immense, inspiring films like The Great Wall with Matt Damon, books on Chinese history, and even modern walls like the Berlin Wall or the proposed border walls. UNESCO added it to the World Heritage List in 1987, recognizing it as a cultural treasure. Modern research is revealing new secrets. The wall suffers from erosion, tourism, and urbanization, with only 8% in good condition. In the 2000s, satellites were used to map its full length. In 2023, hidden sections were found in Mongolia, extending beyond the border. In 2025, discoveries shook the world. In February, archaeologists unearthed the oldest section in Shandong province, dating to around 770 BC, 300 years older than previously thought. This section, 12 miles long, with earthen ramparts and moats, belongs to the Qi Kingdom period and shows early engineering techniques like rammed earth with wooden beams. The study, published in Global Times, confirms the wall is 3 centuries older, changing the timeline of its origin. In April, archaeologists found 9 sections in Gansu province dating to the Western Han Dynasty, over 2,000 years old, with stone walls and watchtowers, revealing defensive strategies. These finds, announced by the Chinese government, extend over 6 miles and include artifacts like pottery and tools. In March, in a mountain pass, fortifications older than the Qin Wall were found, dating back 2,800 years, with earthen ramparts and moats predating the unification of China. Research with drones and LiDAR shows innovations like a wavy design for stability. Preservation projects in 2025 use A1 to monitor erosion. Today, the wall is China's top tourist attraction, with sections like Bedeling visited by 10 million people annually. Restoration continues, but critics note Disney-style rebuilding. It reminds us of unity and sacrifice, linking the past with the present. The Great Wall of China, the eternal guardian, embodies the spirit of the nation, its curves like the river of time. With it, we begin the new wonders, full of mysteries. With this, we conclude our story of the first new wonder and move on to the next. Petra, the rose-red city carved in stone. Now we journey to the mysterious valley of Wadi Musa in Jordan, where Petra is hidden. A rose-red city carved into the cliffs by the Nabateans, a people who ruled the caravan routes of the Arabian Peninsula. This second of the 7 new wonders, chosen by millions of votes in 2007, is not just ruins, but an entire city hidden in a canyon, symbolizing the harmony of man and nature, where stone comes alive under the hands of masters. Petra, known as the Rose City for the hues of its sandstone, was the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, from the 2nd century BC to the 1st century AD, with a population of up to 30,000. The Nabateans, a Semitic people, nomads who became traders, controlled the routes for frankincense, spices, and silk from Arabia to the Mediterranean, amassing wealth that allowed them to create this masterpiece. The city thrived thanks to a water system of aqueducts, cisterns, and dams that collected rainwater in the desert, where annual rainfall is only about 6 inches, creating an oasis in this arid land. Petra stretches over 102 square miles, with more than 800 monuments carved into the cliffs. The main entrance is through the narrow canyon called the Sick, about 3/4 of a mile long and only 10 to 13 feet wide in some places, with walls towering up to 260 feet high, creating a natural defense and a dramatic effect. At the end of the canyon, Al-Khazna, the treasury, appears, a facade 130 feet high, carved in the 2nd century BC as a tomb or temple, possibly for King Aretas IV. Its columns, pediments, and urn, in Greco-Roman style, are adorned by erosion, giving it a rose-colored glow. Further on, the colonnaded street leads to the theater, seating 8,000, carved into the rock, where performances and gatherings were held. The royal tombs, such as the palace tomb and the urn tomb, rise on the hillsides, with facades imitating Hellenistic architecture. The monastery, Ad Der, is an 800-step climb-up, a huge facade 150 by 165 feet, possibly a temple or tomb, with a cross inside indicating later Christian use. The Nabateans used advanced hydraulics, with 125 miles of channels and pipes, and cisterns to collect water, and dams to prevent flash floods, demonstrating their engineering talent in the desert. The city fell in 106 AD, conquered by the Romans under Trajan, becoming the province of Arabia, Petrea. Earthquakes in 363 and 551 AD destroyed much, and with shifting trade routes, Petra was forgotten by the 7th century. It was rediscovered in 1812 by Swiss traveler Johann Ludwig Burckhardt, disguised as an Arab, seeking the lost city. Archaeological excavations began in 1929 by British scholars, and in 1958, Jordanians took control. UNESCO added Petra to its list in 1985, and in 2007 to the New Wonders. Today, only 15% has been excavated, with finds like pottery, coins, and frescoes. Myths about Petra are full of romance. The Nabateans worshipped Dushara, the mountain god, and Al-Uzza, the fertility goddess, with rituals at high places. Legends connect it to Moses. The spring of Ain Musa is said to have been created by his staff. In pop culture, from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where Al-Khazna is the temple of the Holy Grail, to video games and books, Petra symbolizes lost civilizations. Its influence is seen in architecture, from neoclassicism to modern cliffside buildings. Modern research is revealing secrets. Petra suffers from tourism, with 1 million visitors annually, and erosion. In 2023, LiDAR was used to map underground structures. In 2025, discoveries shook the world. In July, archaeologists found a hidden tomb beneath Al-Khazna, containing 12 skeletons and artifacts, including pottery and jewelry, dating to the 1st century BC. This rare find of intact burials reveals Nabatean rituals, announced as a groundbreaking discovery by Josh Gates in Expedition Unknown. Excavations, ongoing from October 2024 into 2025, confirmed the tomb with a Holy Grail-style cup, reminiscent of the film, though experts urge caution, calling it somewhat overblown. The team from the University of St. Andrews unearthed the skeletons and 2,000-year-old items, enriching understanding of Nabatean culture. In April 2025, new petroglyphs and cisterns were found, showcasing the hydraulics. Research with drones and AY analyzes erosion, aiding preservation. Today, Petra is a UNESCO site with 1 million tourists, but with restrictions for protection. The CQ is lit by candles at night with shows. It reminds us of lost civilizations and harmony with nature. Petra, the eternal city in stone, whispers the secrets of the Nabateans, its rose-colored facades like a sunset in the desert. With this, we conclude our story of the second new wonder and move on to the next. The statue of Christ, the Redeemer, a symbol of faith and hope. Now, dear listeners, we cross the ocean to sunny Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where on the peak of Corcovado Mountain stands the statue of Christ, the Redeemer, the third of the 7 new wonders of the world, chosen by millions of votes in 2007. This monumental figure, with arms outstretched over the city, symbolizes peace, faith, and forgiveness, becoming an icon not only of Brazil, but of the entire Christian world. The statue was built between 1922 and 1931, initiated by the Catholic Church and the people of Rio, wishing to mark the centenary of Brazil's independence from Portugal. The idea came from priest Pedro Maria Boss, but the project was realized by Brazilian engineer Heitor da Silva Costa, with the help of French sculptor Paul Landowski and Romanian artist Gheorghe Leonida, who created the head. Funding came from donations, with millions of Brazilians contributing, making it a people's monument. Located at an altitude of 2,330 feet, the statue overlooks Guanabara Bay, the favelas, and Copacabana Beach, embracing the city with an arm span of 92 feet. The statue's dimensions are impressive. It stands 98 feet tall, like a 13-story building, with a 26-foot pedestal, a total weight of 1,145 tons. It is made of reinforced concrete, clad in a mosaic of soapstone, resistant to erosion, with thousands of triangular tiles applied by hand. The arms stretch 92 feet. The head is 12 feet tall, and each palm measures about 14 square feet. Inside, there's a staircase and an elevator for maintenance, and at the base, a chapel for 150 people. Construction was a challenge. Materials were hauled up the mountain by railway, and workers risked their lives on scaffolding. The grand opening on October 12, 1931, was illuminated by Guglielmo Marconi from Italy via radio. The statue has weathered storms and lightning. In 2014, lightning struck off a finger, and erosion requires regular restorations. The statue is not only a religious symbol, but also an engineering masterpiece. Its Art Deco-inspired form is aerodynamic, withstanding winds up to 155 miles per hour. In 2007, it weathered a storm, losing tiles but remaining standing. UNESCO recognized it as part of Rio's landscape in 2012. Every year, 2 million tourists visit, ascending by cog train or on foot, enjoying a 360-degree panorama. Myths about the statue are full of wonders. Brazilians believe Christ protects the city. During Carnival, It is lit in the colors of the flag. Legends speak of builders seeing visions of angels. It has influenced art, from the film Rio to songs about Brazil, symbolizing hope. Copies are seen around the world, from Lisbon to Vietnam. Modern research and events underscore its relevance. Restorations continue in the 2020s, replacing tiles and enhancing lightning protection. In 2025, the statue became a center of events. In June 2025, Catholics held an environmental rally at its base, laying an eco-friendly carpet before the statue, calling for climate action ahead of COP30. This event, with thousands participating, highlighted the statue's role in global challenges. In July 2025, rare photos from the statue's shoulder by artist Ben Tuna revealed restoration details and the view from above. Using drones and 3D scanning, engineers monitor cracks, preventing weather damage. Today, the statue is a UNESCO site, consecrated on holidays, with lighting for events. It reminds us of the faith that unites people. The statue of Christ the Redeemer, the eternal guardian of Rio, its arms embracing the world, symbolizing hope amidst chaos. With this, we conclude our story of the third new wonder and move on to the next, Machu Picchu, the lost city of the Incas. Now we ascend into the Andes in southern Peru, where at an altitude of 7,970 feet above sea level, Machu Picchu, meaning Old Mountain in Quechua, is hidden. This is the fourth of the 7 new wonders of the world, chosen by millions of votes in 2007. This mysterious city, built by the Incas in the 15th century during the time of Emperor Pachacuti, represents a harmonious fusion of architecture and nature. Terraces, temples, and palaces are carved into the cliffs, as if they grew from the earth. Machu Picchu was discovered in 1911 by American explorer Hiram Bingham, who was searching for the lost city of Vilcabamba, but found this wonder shrouded in mist and jungle. The Incas, a civilization without writing or the wheel, created an empire stretching from Colombia to Chile, where Machu Picchu served perhaps as an imperial residence, an astronomical observatory, or a sacred sanctuary for the Aklas, chosen women. The city housed about 1,000 inhabitants, with agricultural terraces fed by an irrigation system from mountain springs, ensuring crops of maize, potatoes, and coca in the harsh Andean climate. Machu Picchu extends over about 5 square miles, divided into urban and agricultural sectors. The main entrance is through the Sun Gate, Intipunku, which opens onto a panorama of the ruins. The central plaza is surrounded by temples. The Temple of the Sun features a semicircular tower, the Torion, where rituals for Inti Raymi, the festival of the sun, were held. The Temple of the Three Windows symbolizes the 3 worlds of Inca cosmology: Hanan Pacha, the heavens; Ke Pacha, the earth; and Uku Pacha, the underworld. The Room of the Condor has a condor carved into the stone floor, possibly an altar for sacrifices. The agricultural terraces, andenes, retain soil on the steep slopes, with a drainage system of gravel and sand preventing erosion. The Incas used polygonal masonry, fitting multifaceted stone blocks together without mortar, creating structures resistant to earthquakes, showcasing their mastery of seismic-resistant architecture. Astronomical elements like the Intihuatana stone, or hitching post of the sun, served as a calendar, casting shadows during solstices. The city was abandoned in the 16th century after the Spanish conquest, possibly due to smallpox or internal conflicts. It remained unknown until 1911, when Bingham, with local guides, discovered it, finding mummies and artifacts. Archaeological excavations began immediately, with Bingham's expeditions taking thousands of items to the US, some of which were partially returned in 2011. UNESCO added Machu Picchu to its list in 1983, and in 2007 to the new wonders. Today, 80% has been restored, but the city suffers from tourism, with 1.5 million visitors annually, and erosion. Myths about Machu Picchu are full of enigmas. The Incas considered it sacred, linked to the creator god Viracocha. Bingham thought it was Tampu Tocco, the legendary birthplace of the Incas, or a sanctuary for the virgins of the sun. Modern theories range from an observatory, a fortress, to a ritual center. Legends of treasures, the lost gold of the Incas, are said to be hidden in tunnels beneath the site. In pop culture, from Dan Brown's novels to Tomb Raider games, it symbolizes lost cities. Its influence is seen in architecture, from Peruvian homes to global eco-projects. Modern research reveals new secrets. Machu Picchu is a UNESCO site, with restrictions limiting visitors to 2,500 per day. In the 2000s, LiDAR was used to map hidden structures. In 2023, new terraces and trails were found. In 2025, discoveries shook the world. In April, archaeologists revealed unknown ceremonial platforms and tombs along the Inca Trail, dating to the 15th century, with artifacts like pottery and textiles. These finds, announced in early 2025, include previously unknown sites near Machu Picchu, such as altars and caves with rock paintings, revealing Inca rituals. Research published in Peru confirms these platforms were used for astronomical observations, changing our understanding of the city. In July 2025, a team found new burials with 12 skeletons beneath structures, similar to the Nabatean finds in Petra, but Inca with gold items. Using drones and AWA, scientists analyzed the terraces, revealing hydraulic systems. Projects in 2025 focus on preservation from climate change. Today, Machu Picchu is a tourist magnet, accessible by train from Cusco and the Inca Trail. New regulations in 2025 limit access for protection. It reminds us of the wisdom of ancestors, living in harmony with the mountains. Machu Picchu, the eternal city in the clouds. Its terraces are steps to the stars, whispering the secrets of the Incas. With this, we conclude our story of the fourth new wonder and move on to the next. Chichen Itza, the Mayan pyramid full of mysteries. Now we descend into the tropical jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, where the ancient Maya city of Chichen Itza unfolds. This complex, whose name means "at the mouth of the well of the Itza," represents the pinnacle of Maya civilization, where pyramids, observatories, and ball courts merge in harmony with the cosmos and nature. Chichen Itza flourished between the 6th and 13th centuries AD, peaking in the 9th to 12th centuries, when it was the capital of a Maya Toltec culture, blending traditions from central Mexico and the Yucatan. The city covered about 2 square miles, with a population of up to 50,000, where priests, warriors, and craftsmen lived in stone houses surrounded by maize fields and cenotes, sacred sinkholes like the sacred cenote, where rituals with offerings were held, throwing gold, jade, and even people into the water to appease the rain gods. The Maya, masters of astronomy and mathematics, built Chichen Itza as a calendar in stone, with buildings aligned to the stars and sun. The city's center is the Pyramid of Kukulkan, or El Castillo, standing 98 feet tall, including its temple, topped by a temple. It has 4 sides, each with 91 steps, plus the top platform, totaling 365, symbolizing the days of the year. Twice a year, during the equinoxes, the shadow cast by the steps forms the shape of a serpent slithering down the pyramid, representing Kukulkan, the feathered serpent god of fertility. Inside, there is a smaller pyramid with a jaguar throne and a statue of Chak Mul, where priests are believed to have placed offerings, perhaps hearts. Nearby is the Temple of the Warriors, with thousands of columns, frescoes depicting battles, and an altar for sacrifices. The Tsompantli, or skull platform, is carved with rows of skulls, a stark reminder of death rituals. The Great Ball Court is the largest in Mesoamerica, measuring 545 feet long, where the ball game symbolized the struggle between light and darkness, and the losing team's captain, according to some interpretations, might have been sacrificed. The observatory, El Caracol, meaning the snail, is a round tower used to observe Venus and the moon, crucial for the Maya calendar. Construction involved locally quarried limestone, using techniques without metal tools, only stone and wood. With precise fitting of blocks and unique acoustics that cause sounds at the pyramid to echo like the Quetzal bird's call. The city fell in the 13th century, possibly due to drought, rebellion, or soil exhaustion. It was forgotten until the 19th century, when John Lloyd Stephens and Frederick Catherwood described it in 1843. Excavations began in the 1890s by Mexican archaeologists, and in the 1920s by the Carnegie Institution. UNESCO added it to the list in 1988. Today, only 20% has been excavated, with threats from tourism, 2.5 million visitors annually, and acid rain. Myths about Chichen Itza are full of mystery. The Maya believed in Kukulkan as a god who came from the west, possibly the Toltec Quetzalcoatl. Legends surround the cenotes as portals to Xibalba, the underworld, with treasures found in the sacred cenote by Edward Thompson in 1904. In pop culture, from Maya books to the film Apocalypto, it symbolizes the supposed end of the world, according to the Maya calendar in 2012, though this is a myth. Its influence is seen in architecture, from Mexican pyramids to modern observatories. Modern research reveals new secrets. Chichen Itza is a UNESCO site with ongoing pyramid restoration. In the 2000s, LiDAR was used to map trails under the jungle. In 2023, underground caves with artifacts were found. In 2025, discoveries shook the world. In March, archaeologists found a hidden tunnel beneath the pyramid of Kukulkan, containing ritual objects dating to the 10th century. In July, a team revealed new cenotes and trails leading to unexplored ruins, with frescoes and pottery revealing Maya trade connections. Research published in National Geographic confirms these finds, including altars with jade, changing our understanding of rituals. In April, an underground world was found, a network of caves beneath the city, with human remains and sacrificial offerings, possibly for the rain god Chak. Using drones and AY, scientists analyze the acoustics, revealing how the pyramid chirps like the Quetzal bird when someone claps. Today, Chichen Itza is a tourist hub with 2.5 million visitors and light shows during the equinoxes. New regulations in 2025 limit access for protection. It reminds us of the Maya calendar and their connection to the cosmos. Chichen Itza, the eternal calendar in stone. Its pyramids are stairways to the stars, whispering Maya prophecies. With this, we conclude our story of the fifth new wonder and move on to the next, the Colosseum, an arena of spectacle and death. Now we descend into the eternal city of Rome, in Italy, where the Colosseum stands, a grand amphitheater and the sixth of the 7 new wonders of the world, chosen by millions of votes in 2007. This elliptical giant, also known as the Flavian Amphitheater, symbolizes the power of the Roman Empire and its love for spectacles, where gladiators fought to the death and the crowd roared with delight. The Colosseum was built between 70 and 80 AD by order of Emperor Vespasian of the Flavian dynasty on the site of a lake in Nero's gardens to erase the memory of the tyrant and win over the people. Funding came from the spoils of the Jewish war, including treasures from the temple in Jerusalem. And construction was completed by Vespasian's son, Titus, who inaugurated it with 100 days of games in which 5,000 animals were killed. Rome, at the time, was a metropolis of 1 million inhabitants, and the Colosseum became the center of entertainment, seating 50,000 to 80,000 spectators, from senators to slaves. The architect is unknown, but the design is a pinnacle of Roman engineering, using concrete, tuff, and travertine, making it the largest amphitheater in the world. The Colosseum's dimensions are impressive, an ellipse measuring 620 by 510 feet, a height of 157 feet, like a 15-story building, with 80 entrances for rapid evacuation. The arena floor, 280 by 160 feet, was covered with sand to absorb blood, with underground corridors, the hypogeum, for gladiators, animals, and mechanisms. Elevators capable of lifting 80 men raised lions and elephants through trapdoors, creating surprises. The tiers were divided by class. The podium for the emperor and senators, the maenianum for the equestrians, and the upper levels for plebeians and women. The velarium, a canvas awning, protected spectators from the sun, rigged by sailors. Games included venaciones, animal hunts, and namachiae, naval battles, with the arena flooded for the latter. Construction took 10 years, with 100,000 slaves, including Jewish prisoners, using arches and vaults to distribute the weight of 300,000 tons of stone. The Colosseum was used for 400 years, until the 6th century, when earthquakes and the empire's decline halted the games. In the Middle Ages, it became a quarry, its stones used for cathedrals and palaces. In the 18th century, Pope Benedict XIV consecrated it as a site of Christian martyrdom. Restorations began in the 19th century, removing plants from the cracks. UNESCO added it to the list in 1980. Today, it is an open-air museum with underground tours. Myths about the Colosseum are full of drama. Gladiators, meaning swordsmen, were slaves, criminals, or volunteers, with the famous salute, Ave Caesar, morituri te salutant. Hail, Caesar, those who are about to die salute you. Though this may be an exaggeration. Legends of Christian martyrs are numerous, though many executions occurred in other amphitheaters. The Colosseum inspired films like Gladiator, books on Rome, and modern stadiums. Its influence is seen in architecture, from the Colosseum in Los Angeles to modern fighting arenas. Modern research reveals new secrets. The Colosseum, a UNESCO site, underwent a €25 million restoration of the arena floor, completed in 2023. In 2025, discoveries shook the world. In January, a rare piece of Egyptian blue pigment was found near the Colosseum, dating back around 2,000 years, in the House of Augustus, revealing the luxurious decor of emperors. This pigment, used for frescoes, shows trade links with Egypt in August during subway excavations near the Colosseum. A working-class Roman dwelling was found, a multi-story complex with homes and shops dating to the Republican era. These finds, announced on August 5th, revealed daily Roman life with mosaics and frescoes. In April, a gladiator's skeleton with lion bite marks was found in England. But related research in Rome analyzes similar artifacts from the Colosseum. Using 3D scanning and AY, scientists reconstruct the hypogeum, revealing its mechanisms. Today, the Colosseum is a tourist magnet with 7 million visitors and night tours. Restorations in 2025 focus on climate resilience. It reminds us of spectacles where life and death were entertainment. The Colosseum, the eternal arena, the echo of the roaring crowd within its walls, is a symbol of Rome's power. With this, we conclude our story of the 6th new wonder and move on to the last, the Taj Mahal, a mausoleum of eternal love and beauty. Now, dear listeners, our journey concludes in northern India, in the city of Agra, where on the banks of the Yamuna River, the Taj Mahal shines. This white marble mausoleum, built between 1632 and 1653 by order of the Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, who died giving birth to their 14th child, is the pinnacle of Islamic architecture and a symbol of eternal love, where symmetry, marble, and gardens create an illusion of paradise on earth. In the 17th century, Agra was the capital of the Mughal Empire, stretching from Afghanistan to Bengal, where Shah Jahan, grandson of Akbar the Great, ruled during an era of flourishing art and trade. The Taj Mahal, whose name means crown of palaces, was built as a tomb for Mumtaz, but also became the emperor's own tomb, with their sarcophagi lying side by side in an underground chamber, though the visible cenotaphs above are empty for protection against grave robbers. The emperor spent the equivalent of 32 million rupees on its construction, a vast sum equal to the empire's annual budget. The Taj Mahal impresses with its symmetry and beauty. It has a square plan of 180 feet per side, with a central dome rising 240 feet, surrounded by 4 minarets, each 130 feet tall. The minarets are slightly tilted outward, so that in case of an earthquake, they would fall away from the mausoleum. The facade is clad in white Makrana marble, inlaid with semi-precious stones, jasper, lapis lazuli, onyx, in the pietra dura technique, forming floral motifs and calligraphy from the Quran. The dome, inspired by Persian and Indian traditions, appears to float due to optical illusion. The Charbagh Gardens are divided into 4 parts by waterways, symbolizing the rivers of paradise, with cypress trees and fountains where the water reflects the mausoleum, creating a mirror effect. The entrance gateway of red sandstone is adorned with reliefs and calligraphy, and inside, an octagonal chamber features a carved marble screen, or jali, that filters light like lace. Construction was overseen by the architects Ustad Ahmad Lahori and Ustad Isa, with 20,000 workers from India, Persia, and Turkey, including masters from Baghdad for calligraphy and Bukhara for inlay work. Marble was brought by elephants from Rajasthan and gemstones from Afghanistan and China. The Taj Mahal has survived the centuries, but not without trials. After Mumtaz's death, Shah Jahan planned a black marble mausoleum for himself across the river, but was deposed by his son Aurangzeb and imprisoned in Agra Fort, where he gazed upon his creation until his death in 1666. In the 18th century, yachts and Marathas plundered it, removing gold and gems. And in the 19th century, the British used it for picnics. Restorations began under Lord Curzon in the early 1900s, restoring its luster. In the 20th century, pollution from Agra's factories yellowed the marble, leading to the creation of a green zone around it. UNESCO added it to the list in 1983. Myths about the Taj Mahal are full of romance and tragedy. Legend says Shah Jahan cut off the hands of the master craftsmen so they could never replicate his masterpiece. But this is fiction. Another theory posits a black Taj Mahal visible in the ruins across the river. But this is an optical illusion or remnants of a garden. Some see Masonic symbols or Hindu motifs in its symmetry, suggesting it was a rebuilt Shiva temple, a theory promoted by certain groups but refuted by historians. The Taj Mahal inspired the poetry of Rabindranath Tagore, who called it a teardrop on the cheek of eternity, and music from Bollywood films to songs. Its influence is seen in mausoleums, from Grant's tomb in New York to replicas in Bangladesh. Modern research and restorations preserve its magnificence. The Taj Mahal receives 8 million visitors annually, generating millions in revenue, but suffers from pollution and crowds. From 2018 to 2023, a mud pack treatment using Multani Miti was applied to remove yellowing. In 2025, discoveries and work continue. In June, the Archaeological Survey of India, ASAN, identified a water leak in the main dome at a height of 240 feet using thermal scanning, leading to urgent restoration work to prevent damage. This discovery, announced on June 27th, pinpointed a seepage point requiring roof and dome repairs using drones and experts for minimal intervention. In July, routine restoration of the dome and roof continued to preserve its timeless beauty, with warnings to tourists about possible restrictions. Additionally, a government report earlier in the year noted that the Taj Mahal earned 297 crore rupees over 5 years, confirming it as the AS1's most profitable monument, funding further work. Using 3D scanning and AI, scientists model erosion, revealing how the marble changes color from pink to golden at dawn and dusk. Projects in 2025 include environmental initiatives, such as tree planting around the site to reduce pollution. Today, the Taj Mahal is a UNESCO site with restrictions on photography and footwear inside, and is illuminated by moonlight on full moon nights. Tourists arrive at dawn to see the mist over the Yamuna, creating a mystical aura. It reminds us of love that outlasts time and the fragility of beauty. The Taj Mahal, an eternal monument to love, its domes like pearls in India's crown, whispering the story of Shah Jahan and Mumtaz. With this, we conclude our story of the seventh new wonder. And so, dear listeners, our journey through the seven wonders of the ancient world and the seven new wonders of modernity comes to an end. We have traveled through millennia, from the sands of Giza, where the Great Pyramid of Khufu stands as an eternal guardian of time, through the legendary Hanging Gardens of Babylon, whose terraces dissolve into the myths of Mesopotamia, to the shimmering Taj Mahal, whose marble whispers of Shah Jahan's love for Mumtaz Mahal. Each wonder is not just stone, bronze, or marble, but a story of human genius, faith, and the desire to leave a mark on eternity. These structures, whether the ruins of the Colosseum or the echo of gladiatorial combat, still seems to resonate. Or the rose-red cliffs of Petra, guarding the secrets of the Nabateans, remind us of the fragility and grandeur of civilizations. They teach us that even what seems eternal is subject to time. But the dreams embodied in these wonders live on in our imagination. May these stories lull you tonight, carrying you into dreams where pyramids shine under the stars and lighthouses illuminate the path in the darkness. Good night, dear friends, and may your dreams be full of wonders.